Yo, what is up, everybody? Today we are going to be doing the movie for the Naruto was Gojo's Reincarnation. Now I'm going to say this from just from the start. I'm not Rogex, so I'm not going to be able to do like a 4-hour movie. Like, I don't know how he did that. Like, he would just he was a big yapper, okay? So he would I think he would make like the Sanji one, if anyone still remembers that one. That one was like 5 hours and 26 minutes. That was way too long. I don't know how he did it. I don't have it, unfortunately. I only have like maybe some few ones like downloaded on my phone. But yeah, that's just random off topic. But pretty much, yeah, as the title suggests, it's going to be what if Naruto was Gojo's reincarnation. And this was actually supposed to be something that Rogue was going to be doing. Like, I made this thumbnail, and then, he was going to do it, but then he didn't do it, because, he deleted his channel. So, yeah, I decided I would just do it. Yeah. And that's basically going to be the theme of everything. Like, all the what ifs that he was going to do, I would just do, sort of like, some good way, to remember it, in a sense. Yeah. But without further ado, guys, sit back, relax, and enjoy. So, we're going to start this what if. We're going to actually have Naruto be born a few years earlier, because I actually have an interesting plot line that I want to use. I think it will be kind of interesting. So, we're going to have Naruto be born in the age of Itachi and Shisui. He'll be like a little bit older than like 3-4 years old. So he'll be like by the time of the start of the show, he'll be like 24 or something like that. That's just a guess. Or 22, I don't know. Like just early 20s, right? So what would happen from here is, so we're just having Minato and Kushina be a bit older than usual. And yeah, they would, have Naruto. But Naruto would be a little bit different, He would have like different features and everything like that. Now, one thing I want to mention is how Gojo was even, reincarnating to start with. Now, I just want to say this whole thing is gonna be a spoiler alert. Like, if you haven't caught up to the manga, and if you didn't see what happened, I would not suggest watching this video. So yeah, I'm giving you the chance right now. Probably wait 5 seconds. Alrighty, so yeah, Gojo gets split in half. And and he as he's dying, he's thinking about death, and then that's pretty much how he gets reincarnated. But one thing that's interesting is and that's I've heard online, of course I saw on TikTok, it's when you're about to die, you're or when you die, your memories go through the best 7 minutes or something like that. So maybe this whole thing could be just the 7 minutes. This whole what if could be the 7 minutes before he dies. And that wouldn't really make sense, because that would have to mean he's just going through the memories he already went through, so it wouldn't really make sense. But we could have that happen. It's really minuscule. I mean, we're just gonna have Gojo reincarnate some way, so take it however you wish. So Naruto would be born, like I said, and he would be in the same school. He would be going to the academy, but thing is, what's different from him and everyone else is he sort of gets everything kind of faster. He understands more complex systems and stuff like that. And of course, as you know, he has different features like white hair, blue eyes. It's definitely an interesting combination. But as he's growing up, he would understand concepts calculus and physics, and he'd be able to understand them much more faster. And he'd understand derivatives and integrals, and he's a kid, so that's definitely something to say. And the reason why I brought this in is because the ability itself is really interesting. The fact that you just infinitely divide the distance between one object and another until they just can't reach that distance. So it's definitely interesting. There will be maybe one person so far that can maybe counter this. If you're thinking overthinking, then you're right. but if not, you'll see. But yeah, maybe some other people. I'm not too sure. Like, I'm not sure if Genjutsu would even work. Because, like, Genjutsu is just like chakra being enforced on another person. And this chakra would then create, like, some illusion. So maybe if, like, once Gojo, like, has his awakening, then maybe they won't work. But for now, like, he actually think about, like, all that type of stuff. So as he's going up. So from here, like I said, sorry for the interruption, by the way. He would go to the academy and he would actually excel. And early on, they would actually realize his ability to, have Limitless. They would just discover his Limitless ability. So, like, whenever he'd be in the academy, they're training, like, hand-to-hand combat, they would realize, like, at some points, they just can't hit him. And that's usually just when they're fighting. So pretty much, like, when he doesn't sense, like, bloodlust, or not really bloodlust, but more like fighting intention, then it really doesn't work. He has to actually have to do it himself, actively in his head. So from here, due to this ability, he would actually become really well known over the village. But one thing I want to mention is how the Nine Tails attack would occur and, like, what would happen. Now, I didn't really mention, like, the Nine Tails attack too much, and since birth of Minato, or both birth of Naruto is happening earlier, I'm just gonna have everything kind of go similarly with Minato sealing half of the Nine Tails in Kushina and half of it in Naruto. Yeah, I don't know, I'll just have him in here. I'm still a bit confused on what to do with Kurama, if I'm ever doing a Naruto what if. So, but for now, I think it'd actually I think it would work out. So from here, Naruto's name would actually become quite popular over the village, and just as this orphan boy who has his special ability that nobody can reach him. And similarly to Gojo in Jujutsu Kaisen, he would have a pretty high bounty on his head due to his special abilities. And one day, when, as you know, the cloud tried to take Hinata's eyes, but they're also gonna try and take Naruto's eyes. So at one point, like when Naruto's about maybe 9 or 10, right, they would try, but obviously it wouldn't really work, because compared to Hinata, who was like 4 at the time, he's actually like trained, and he has Limitless, so he can sense. So whenever he sends like blood, lust, or the intent to kill, his like Limitless would just like activate, pretty much. Activation counts. But it's pretty much what would happen. Two Cloud Ninja would have katanas, or 2 Jonin Cloud Ninja would have katanas, and they would try to kidnap Naruto in the middle of the night and take his eyes. But since he's not at Hyuga, they're fine with killing him and just taking his eyes normally. So they would have their katanas, and they would think, they would try to sneak up on him and try to go in for the kill. But their katanas would stop, as Naruto would turn around, sort of confused, but then he kind of realized, seeing, he's just like legit walking around, and then some like 2 guys just like pretty much like try to like take his head off, right? The thing is, the Limitless is sort of different from him, like in a sense that the Limitless can sense the killing intent, but it's not like, at this point he can't really, so it's just acting on its own, right? So he would just, just throw his fist back and would hit him. But as he's sort of hitting them, like with his actual 6 eyes, or he can see the placements of like curse energy, and he can see the spot where he has to hit. Like he sort of sees this like red spot on him, sort of like a weak point, like in video games, like you're facing this boss, and he has this special weak spot that you're supposed to hit in order to like kill him. In a sense, it's the same thing here. Well, in this case, it's sort of to activate Black Flash. Now, obviously, I think in the recent chapters, Gojo said it's easier for him to use multiple Black Flashes. I think he said his max was 4 at a time. is because of his 6 eyes. You can correct me or not, but I think that's what I saw. So he would land a black flash on that one guy before doing it on the other, and it was just, that's it, they're done. And this is Jonin, so it's actually pretty impressive for Naruto to do at such a young age. So from here, due to like his recent popularity, he's sort of like an icon in the village. Like, he's much more popular, and during the academy they separate him with all the other like clan heads and smart kids. So like he gets to meet Shisui, and the two would get close, and pretty much they would train together, hang out together, and they would pretty much study together, and then they would graduate early, with Naruto graduating at about like maybe like 11, I guess, and Shisui graduating at 12. But from here, they would become Genin, and this is when they would actually meet Itachi. Right around the same time that Shisui would meet Itachi in normal time is when Naruto would be there as well. And the three would start training together, going on missions. And one particular day, I'm gonna say like when Naruto was about like 14, and then just to say, I want to mention that like maybe Naruto's older than Shisui about like a year, maybe like a year and a half, right? And Shisui is about like 2 years older, or more like 3 years older than Itachi. So it's right now when Naruto is like 14 and a half, Itachi's like 9, or 9, close 9 and a half, whatever you want to. Months are pretty much meaningless in this case. So I want to go to that specific day on when the masked man Madara Uchiha would actually be making his assassination attempt on the fire daimyo, I believe it was, and Itachi and his team were there, and this is like when his teammate would die. But this pretty much what the change is happening is that, if you can tell where I'm going with this, Obito in this case would be more like Toji in this case. So Gojo, or Naruto, if I ever say Gojo, just know in this case it's Naruto. Unless I'm referring to Jujutsu Kaisen, then maybe you can tell. But Naruto would be accompanying the team on escorting the fire daimyo, and he's relatively popular. Like, people making rumors about his ability to like not be able to pass through him, or like go, or at least reach him, right? So Obito would be using a similar tactic to canon of Toji, in the sense that he's waiting to deplete all of his energy, because he uses his Limitless like almost all the time, and it's draining. So especially on a mission like this, he actually has to have it up. He doesn't know who's gonna show up. So from here, Obito would appear, and he would use his chain, and Naruto would sort of sense it, but it's sort of in his blind spot, so it's mostly his Limitless. But thing is, even if his Limitless is on and stuff like that, Obito has this one thing which I think would actually manage to get through the Limitless, and I think this is his Kamui ability, because I think maybe my theory is, or at least what I'm going to have, is his ability only works on the actual dimension. So if someone else is in another dimension, then his Limitless isn't as effective, or isn't even effective at all. So Obito would just be able to pass him. The only trouble I think he'd have is like whenever he wants to actually attack him, he'd have to like kind of become tangible again. So that's like something pretty interesting. I'm wondering like how would that work, but we'll just go for that at some point. So Obito would have his usual chain, and he would just straight up go for the neck and pull, and Naruto, all you would hear is just like screeching metal, and then you would just hear like this blood, like just, it was pretty bad. But this would like almost take off his head. He's bleeding from the neck. He's like done, right? So Naruto's laying there on the ground, and he's wondering, he's actually like really confused why his Limitless doesn't work, or didn't work in this case. And Obito would be there, and this is when Itachi's teammate would try to interfere and would get killed as well. And Madara say like there's no heroes and stuff like that, and on the verge of death, Naruto is feeling like everything, and it's actually when he starts feeling the actual like reverse curse technique, right? So from here, Obito would try to go for the fire daimyo, and Naruto, like maybe like this is like after a few minutes of Naruto like being dead, so to speak, and Itachi actually seeing this, like seeing two of his friends die, would go immediately into his 2-to-1 Sharingan in both eyes, I think. Or unless I could say Mangekyo, but that's a bit of a stretch. The most I can say is probably 3-to-1, and that's like after a bit. Like to say Mangekyo is a little crazy, like, you know. So from here, Itachi would be trying to fight Obito, and he'd be honestly doing not too bad with the 2-to-1. He's sort of adapting, but he's nowhere near Obito. So, you know, Obito would be slightly impressed, but like kind of bored after some point. He was messing around with him, holding back. And this is when he would try to go in for the kill. And this is when Naruto's hand, like the chain would go try to like kill Itachi. And this is when Naruto's hand would like kind of grab it, or like go up and block it. And the chain would like immediately like bounce back as if it hit some surface. And this is actually his infinity. And what would happen is Naruto would then use blue. I think blue is the one that, like, I think blue is the one that pulls in, red the ones that pulses or, you know, bounces off, or I can't think, or pulses, right? So he would actually use red. If I have it mixed up, then yeah, I have it mixed up, but he would use red to send Obito flying back into the forest. And Obito would come back, you know, via like space-time ninjutsu, and would actually be quite impressed and also a little bit confused on how he came back. And from here, Naruto would just have that moment that Gojo had, where he goes like, "You're so right, like," and he would be like laughing ecstatically. I think it's just maybe just the sensation of feeling reverse curse technique. And he was like, he starts rambling like on the verge of death. You know, I finally got it, the essence of like cursed energy. And then Obito would be kind of confused, but then he would be like, this fight's just starting, and like that Madara voice. And you know, then you would get the "you're so right" moment, "you're so right," and then Naruto would just pull out his purple, like they do a few hand-to-hand combat. And Naruto would turn off his Limitless, like, and then Obito would just turn off his combo just for like respect, you know, just so it can actually get hands-on fight. And they would start doing hand-to-hand combat, and you know, Gojo's or Naruto's adapting and, you know, that stuff. And pretty much what would happen is Naruto would start to overcome Obito. I know that kind of sounds a bit crazy, though. I think Obito is only like, if I'm actually doing this right, more like 16, 17. I know at the Nine Tails attack he was 14, I think. And then like, Itachi was like 5 years old, actually more like 19, maybe in early 20s. Sort of in that range. Let's keep it at range, not exact. So from here, Naruto would do his special moment where he would make purple, and Obito would just try to use combo, thinking it would just go right past, but it would actually hit him. Now, if you're wondering why, this purple actually goes through dimensions, in the sense that it doesn't just erase everything in this one particular dimension, the 3D dimension. It also affects everything in the combo dimension. So let's just say my boy Obito getting that donut hole. So Obito would get donutted, right? It'd be about the same one as Toji, and he would be impressed sort of as his mask would fall off, and they would see Obito Uchiha. Of course, Naruto doesn't know who he is, and it wasn't until later that actually they will know. But Obito would die, and his body would be there. When pretty much after he kills him, they go about, finish the mission, right? Go about that stuff. But what actually happens is Zetsu, wanting to complete his plan, wanting to make sure everything went to plan, would actually start to take over Obito's body, right? Sort of like how Kenjaku did to Geto, but a little bit different. So he would start merging with like the whole, and then this was when like he's sort of controlling his body. So Obito's not really there, you know. It's kind of interesting dilemma. So I'll just leave it up to interpretation. But Zetsu would take over his body, and then would start continuing the Akatsuki's plan, but he would still pretend to be Obito or Madara. Madara. He still pretend to be Madara and all that. And yeah, he does have access to Kamui and stuff like that. So this is humanoid, weird, like Frankenstein version of Obito would pretty much happen. And so I'll do like a time skip. So right after like pretty much Shisui, Itachi, the Uchiha clan massacre would go about the same. During this time, Naruto would be in Anbu, just doing assassination missions, because he realized how useful he is in that. So he just spent like the next like 4 or 5 years just doing straight like Anbu missions. Like he'd be working like 70 hours a week. He's building his reputation in the ninja world, and he's actually has a bright future, and he's pretty much becoming the strongest in the village and even the world. But that's still yet to be tested. So what happens after these few years, Naruto would kind of not really get sick of killing people, but he would get sick of killing people. I know that's kind of funny, but he wants to change. And I think especially due to the Uchiha massacre, his best friend Shisui dying, Itachi dying, or not really dying, but going rogue, and all Uchiha dying. Pretty much after Uchiha massacre, Itachi would entrust Sasuke with him, in the sense that he's going to train him. It's sort of like how Toji entrusted Megumi to Gojo. It's pretty much the same thing, but in this case it's Itachi entrusting Gojo to Sasuke. And Gojo would be training Sasuke like periodically, like not as much, but he sees that actually Sasuke has a lot of potential to actually improve. And that's pretty much what happens. And he sort of starts shifting into the mind that, at first he can just, he was thinking of just killing Danzo and, everyone like that, but he realizes that isn't really too effective, because then someone else will just come and take over, and, at some point, even not now, maybe after he dies, and it will just continue. So he thinks about going into teaching and, becoming a Jonin sensei. So he actually consults Kakashi, who was also who also was told to become a Jonin sensei. And what would happen is he and Kakashi would kind of enroll him as like an assistant sensei, sort of. He's Jonin and everything, but like he's sort of just an assistant sensei, and to Kakashi. So Kakashi would be having the main role, and just think of like Gojo like the side coach or something, the assistant coach, right? So that's pretty much what happens. And they would go through and start testing kids and teams, and all of them would fail. Kakashi, due to Kakashi doing the bell test, all of the kids would be failing until Team 7. So pretty much over this time skip which I mentioned, Gojo or Naruto would be developing a technique, and especially after the death of Shisui, he would be more motivated to get stronger and do so in his place. So as I said, Naruto would become like an assistant Jonin sensei to Kakashi, and this is pretty much when we have Team 7 being formed. Now some differences are going to happen here, in the sense that Team 7 is not going to be like the canon Team 7, because Naruto is not like, he was born earlier and was like a Jonin now, so he can't really be on a Genin squad. So I was doing some like deep thinking about this, and I honestly realized I feel like Shino would be the best option to replace Naruto. Another person I was thinking of was Shikamaru, but as you know, they kind of want to keep that Inoshikucho tradition going. And I don't know who else would be able to fit in. You have Sakura the healer, or like if you want more like the Tsunade role, and Sasuke is more like aggressive role, kind of always pressing. Maybe Shino can play that like tactician role, playing, fighting from afar, really like weakening his opponents from afar for Sasuke to get in that final hit. So honestly, Shino's a bit like chill. He's indifferent. Like he's nonchalant. And Sasuke would also kind of be the same. Sakura. So I don't really see much problems with them like being able to like work together as a team. It's not like Shino would be able to do that. He seems like chill. Sasuke's is a little bit different. Like as you know, like Naruto has been training him recently, and he's kind of like a little bit different, but he's still like he's sort of like making me low-key. Like he's indifferent. He doesn't really care. He still wants to kill Itachi and everything, but he more or less keeps that to himself. Like, Sakura. I could have Sakura be a little bit different. Say she's been studying some like books written by Tsunade. She maybe knows how to like do like one of her chakra infused fists. Maybe she can only do it like a few times. And, maybe she knows like basic like healing jutsus. I forgot what that one where like you pretty much like your hand glows green, and then the mystic palm technique. Yeah, that's what it's called. Using like she knows how to use the mystic palm technique. And yeah, during the academy she specialized in medical ninjutsu and like hand-to-hand combat like taijutsu. So yeah, she's kind of starting off early on that. Sasuke more or less, he'd be able to use the Sharingan. It's not like he awakens it but doesn't even know what's there. Like due to Naruto helping him out, he'd actually be able to train it and actually being able to use it to like copy jutsus. And Naruto is able to use jutsu, I want to say. And with the fact that, he has 9 tails in him. Obviously, he doesn't really use it that much, but if he really wanted to, he could use KCM. Like, he just goes in there, beats up, like, Kurama, like he did in canon, or like Naruto did in canon. That's pretty much it. I might have that be a plot point later on, towards the end. This movie's probably not going to be an hour. It's probably going to be closer to an hour, but that's really it. Because it's more or less from Naruto's perspective, so having him go through like the Chunin exams and stuff like that is kind of pointless, because he's not like a Genin in this case. Like trying to become a Chunin, he's already a Jonin. So yeah, pretty much they have the belt test and it goes relatively okay. But they all 3 of them would just be fighting against Kakashi like normal, and Naruto will be watching, taking notes, their abilities, and seeing what he can improve. And yeah, that's pretty much what would happen. You'd see that Shina's more like longer range opponent. Obviously he knows Sasuke, he knows how he fights, and he takes notes on Sakura, kind of see similarities between her and Tsunade, and get some ideas. So from here they would pass, and it would be hard, but as long as they're working together, Kakashi would probably pass them. So that's pretty much all that matters. This is when they'd be going on the Land of Waves mission. And obviously, this is after like a month of doing D-rank missions. And this is when mainly Naruto would actually be taking over on training, with Kakashi just leading them during missions. Of course, he would teach them some stuff, but Naruto would be the main person teaching them, because Kakashi wants to give Naruto experience in actually teaching people. So one day he can actually lead his own team, or even lead a unit, maybe an Anbu or something like that. So Naruto will be teaching them like tree walking, water walking, and that he can do, by the way. And he would start specializing with teaching Naruto, or teaching Sasuke, fireball jutsu, and not fireball, but like more advanced versions of the fire style jutsus. And Shino, I feel like Shino would definitely be like I could definitely see him being an earth style, maybe water style. I actually don't know his elements. Maybe he portrayed them in the series, but I've never seen them. He's just really shown just to, use bugs. I guess that's just his clan. They don't really use elements, but in this case, he's open to doing that. And Sakura, I think Sakura uses fire style in the novels. And we can just give her water style and earth style, And yeah, and then Sasuke, of course, would show some potential in lightning. And this is actually when Kakashi would start like solo training with Sasuke. And then Naruto would be training Sakura and Shino. And pretty much this would actually be pretty good training, because Sakura would be going against Shino in sparring. And she needs to actually find a way to bypass the distance, because he's a long range fighter. So it's actually really good for her, because she gets experience in that. And this is when she starts using her like chakra infused attacks, and maybe, starts actually getting some of the concepts of the 100 healings. But she's not even close. She actually has to get taught by Tsunade to even get close to this. And Naruto actually realized this, and he'll see what he can do. He has a lot of leverage. I mean, if Kakashi and Guy are like the top Jonin, Naruto's up there, if not higher than them. The only reason he's not higher is because of he's young, and he's not seen like as having a lot of experience, because Guy and Kakashi actually fought in the third grade ninja war when Naruto really didn't. So pretty much from here they would go ahead on their Land of Waves mission. But this is actually when Kakashi would tell Naruto that he won't be initially coming, and unless like he sends word for him. So obviously Naruto's aware of Kakashi's summoning dogs, so he knows how to receive and relay messages, right? So Naruto would be waiting in the hidden leaf as the three would go on their way. And pretty much from here, a man would be walking when a summoning toad would be at his door, right? It's like maybe like Gamatatsu or something like that, right? And he would have a message from Lord Jiraiya, or at least that's what they call him, sort of out of respect due to his sage status. And he would be informed, of some news about the Akatsuki, because recently Naruto had been sort of an apprentice to Jiraiya, or just recently, and of course Jiraiya kind of feels bad because he hasn't really been there for Naruto during his life, and he doesn't really want he doesn't want to have to repeat his mistakes of what happened with Nagato. I mean, it's kind of a little bit irrelevant, but that was just something I thought I'd mention. So he and Jiraiya would be working to take down the Akatsukis. But right now it's just rumors. It's just information that they're getting from Itachi or some other like information from the Land of Rain. I think it's called the Land of Rain, or the Hidden Rain Village. So yeah, and the two, I'd say Naruto is actually getting close to learning Sage Mode. He kind of already doesn't really need it, but I feel like it kind of showing how he has like a mix of both techniques is good, because in the sense that he has curse energy, but because he was born in the Narutoverse, he has access to chakra, and they're kind of similar. It's sort of like a nature versus nurture. Naruto's nature is to use curse energy, but he's sort of nurtured to use chakra. So it's kind of an interesting dilemma. So yeah, Naruto would, at some point later on, would start learning Sage Mode. And after a few days, like a day or two, he would get word from Kakashi that they had an encounter with a Jonin called Zabuza of the Mist. They all held their own, Sasuke and Shino and Sakura helping Kakashi once he actually got trapped in the water prison jutsu, and they would manage to get him out via like using bugs, like trying to have bugs like come out from under the water or the bridge, and pretty much disconnect the chakra from Zabuza's arm to the water prison jutsu. Sasuke kind of distracting Zabuza with like a firewall jutsu, so he's not actually actively looking at his surroundings. He's kind of focused on Sasuke. And this was how they pretty much got Kakashi out of the water prison. So they would send word that they think they can complete the mission, but he should probably come just in case. So he would start packing his stuff, and he gets there pretty fast, like I'd say in a day, maybe less than that. So once he gets there, he sees Kakashi is overexerted himself with the Sharingan, and that's pretty much what would happen. Kakashi would rest while Naruto would take over, and he would start training them, right? Now Sasuke would obviously would actually have pretty good progress on his Chidori. He'd be at like the level 1, where you can actually like put lightning into a kunai and actually use it as a weapon. And Sakura would be doing okay, and Shino would be doing fine, I guess. And he would more or less just train them on like how to fight a ninja from the Mist Village, because they're fighting Zabuza, and that's pretty much who they think they're fighting. So they want to be ready for how to counter the Mist Jutsu how to actually like use your chakra to dispel misjutsus and that kind of thing. You know, how to actually overcome the bloodlust, how to deal with sword fighters like Zabuza, especially when he has a long blade which will cut you, like it's sharp. And that's pretty much what they're doing. They were kind of spending that time on how to counter Zabuza specifically. And yeah, really, Sasuke would be spending most of his time like working on this fire style jutsu, and because lightning, and maybe lightning because it conducts water, and if Zabuza's using it, you know, he just needs to throw like an electric kunai, and that Zabuza's down for the count. So yeah, that's pretty much what would happen. Shino and Sakura being focusing on their Earth Style Jutsu, one to help build the bridge, to get things quicker, and also just like defensive, like countermeasures, like to defend Zabuza by creating Earth mud styles and stuff like that. That's impenetrable, like trying to create impenetrable defense. So that's pretty much what they would spend their week doing. So once after the week, the three would pretty much, or the five of them actually, would head over to the bridge, and Zabuza would actually immediately recognize Naruto, and he's sort of like, he's scared, because like Naruto is known for like killing, like obviously, as you know, Obito Uchiha, the same person who supposedly, you know, was behind the Nine Tails attack, but that's really just a far-fetched rumor. So what would happen is that the two would start fighting, but Zabuza's still a little bit on the fence about like actually fighting them. He thinks about retreating and just like not doing this mission at all. And pretty much what would happen is we just go through the fight. Haku would be fighting Naruto and Zabuza would be fighting Kakashi, with the three kind of playing defense, because they don't really need to like have, like the only reason like Sasuke and Naruto fought Haku to begin with is because they're like short on shinobi. Like it was just the four of them, but now they have five of them, and two of them being Jonin. The three of them can just play defensive, because the objective is not to kill Zabuza or Haku, it's just to protect Zabuza while he builds the bridge, and of course have minimal damage as possible. So they would use Earth Style Jutsu to start defending Zabuza, and really no Senbone or some sneak attacks are going to be able to hit Tazuna. So Haku would try using his demonic mirror jutsu on Naruto, after like hand-to-hand combat and realizing he can't beat him by normal means. But the thing is, this is kind of useless because Naruto has Limitless and none of the attacks are actually going to hit him. So, and Naruto can just easily destroy the demonic mirror jutsu. So I know it kind of sounds simple, but like Haku's getting packed up, like donut hole, whatever you want to say, man. This is the donut special. Like Dunkin' Donuts is over here. Like, come get your donuts. Like, this is what's happening. And Zabuza would get donated low key by Kakashi, and yeah, that's pretty much what would happen. I know it's kind of like a simple arc and not much happened. And so, of course, this could have been really good development for Sasuke if he was forced to fight Haku and then see his friend die. But I feel like that could be something for like the Chunin exams, and I have a pretty good idea of what I'm gonna do for that. So from here, we'll go over just the Chunin exams. They go back to the village, and the three of them agree to do the Chunin exams. And I'm mainly going to be focusing on the Forest of Death, right? The Forest of Death, yeah. So Sasuke, Shino, and Sakura would be fighting against Orochimaru when, Orochimaru would get really land a bad hit on Shino, and pretty much he would have this Kusanagi blade. He's mainly going after Sasuke, so he wants to get rid of Sakura and Shino. So what would happen is Orochimaru would realize the weakest link is Sakura, and he would appear in front of her and go to slice her with his Kusanagi blade, when Shino would appear in front of her, the blade, and surround himself in bugs, trying to take the hit. Pause. And he would be sent, both him and Sakura be sent flying back, with Shino having his gash across his chest. But the thing is, with Shino, his bugs have some slight healing property, so they'd be able to just close the wound and make sure like no blood flows out. So that's kind of like when it comes to like bugs, like he's fine, but not really fine, but he'll be kind of cooked. Cooked. Actually, like the TikTok terminology is like kind of leaking through. But pretty much Sasuke seeing this, like actually thinking they died or something, because it looks like he died. You just used the blade on them and everything. His Mangekyo would actually go ahead and activate. And I feel like with Naruto training him over this time, he's ready for this. I mean, and of course over this time, he starts to get closer to using the Chidori, and his Mangekyo would activate, and Orochimaru would be really excited but kind of scared at the same time, as all of a sudden Sasuke would start spamming the Amaterasu, and Orochimaru's not really expecting this, and he gets hit, but this more or less just causes him to use his ability to like regurgitate his body, and pretty much he would be fine. But Sasuke from here would just make a flame arrow, and he would be pressing on him, like using Amaterasu, using Susanoo to grab him and crush him. Like Orochimaru's actually gonna probably like die here, and then he'll probably be revived by like another person, or he'll just die, which I'll probably just have him be revived, but like having like him take over the body of someone else or something like that. But pretty much Sasuke would just kill off Orochimaru by using like his Mangekyo and of course his Chidori. Obviously Sasuke is way stronger here, so yeah, if it sounds a bit normal, it's probably is. So from here, Naruto would be waiting at the exit when the three of them would come, and they would relay the story of what happened, how actually after they fought Orochimaru, they had to fight Team Dosu, how they actually got the scroll and managed to come over here. So from here, Naruto would relay this to Orochimaru's in the village, and he's planning some sort of attack, and he thinks that Orochimaru is working with Gaara, and that they're going to plan something. He thinks it's an invasion, but he's not quite too sure yet. So pretty much what would happen is Orochimaru would be like close to death, as he would be revived by having one of his he would have Kimimaro pretty much use his curse mark to like revive him. It's kind of how Sasuke did that in his fight against Itachi, how just like Orochimaru came out the curse mark, which is kind of weird, but that's pretty much what happened. And Orochimaru would take over Kimimara's body, and this actually, he doesn't have much time because Kimimaro still has that disease, so he doesn't have much time. He's kind of cooked because his plans are not going to how he wished to go, and there was some unexpected development. So this is actually when I'm going to have Zetsu, or Obito Zetsu, appear, and he would actually make a deal with Orochimaru, and he would be laughing sort of sinisterly, is that even a word? He'd have a sinister laugh as the plans to attack Konoha kind of come into fruition, because Zetsu wants to take the Nine Tails. He's kind of proactive. He's been proactive over the years, and Orochimaru wants to kill Hiruzen, and then obviously take the Sharingan of Sasuke. So yeah. So pretty much what happened here is we'll just go through to the final of the Chunin exams, and this is when the attack would take place, with Zetsu kind of enacting his plan. Now, what would happen is he would attack the village with Orochimaru, and Orochimaru would actually be having a pair of Rinnegan. Now, if you're wondering, whoa, what just happened? Pretty much, Zetsu killed Nagato, gave him to Orochimaru, and sort of he wants Orochimaru to become the Ten-Tailed Jinchuriki, then pretty much revive Kaguya, then he'll just betray Orochimaru. So Zetsu didn't tell him how he got the Rinnegan at all, just that he did. So, sort of manipulating the two. Now, what would happen from here is that once Orochimaru would appear, like he would have his animal path summoned, and they would have just wreak havoc over the village. And Naruto and Jiraiya would be immediately dispatched to the Hokage, and they would get ready for the attack. And this is like when Orochimaru would reveal himself. So he has his animal paths come, right? But he's still considered the Kazekage. Then, like, as Naruto and Jiraiya appear, then he kind of reveals himself, goes in for the attack on Hiruzen. That's pretty much what happened. So then his sound force placed a barrier, and the three of them are forced to fight Orochimaru, with Black Zetsu going ahead and taking the One Tails from Gaara. And he would die. So that's a bit unfortunate. But we'll probably we'll probably have something interesting happen with that. So what would happen is Naruto, Jiraiya, and Hiruzen would be fighting against Rinnegan, Orochimaru, and what would happen is Orochimaru would use his Rinnegan to, use its various paths, and he already knows a bunch of jutsu. So, of course, this is when he'll summon the Hokage, the previous Hokage, and they'll just fight against the first and second Hokage like it happened. They'll stop the fourth one from coming up. But really, in this case, Naruto can just use purple on the reanimations because it's just, they're gone immediately. Even though they can regenerate, like, purple just erases it completely. So, Naruto could just use purple on, like, with Hiruzen holding them down or something, or using some jutsu, like, to keep them still, probably, like, or using the toads from Ma and Pa to use genjutsu on them just temporarily, using like sound genjutsu, with Naruto having just some time interval for him to use purple, and that would just destroy them, and pretty much Orochimaru would start using his paths, more specifically like Almighty Push and Universal Pull, and sort of Naruto would start to get a hang on its time intervals. Like, there's 5-second time intervals, and he knows what to do. So from here, Orochimaru would go ahead and use the Universal Pull, and Naruto would start getting pulled towards it. And the thing is, he just has his infinity on. So the only problem I see is that how can Orochimaru bypass infinity? Even like if they had Kamui, like that can't even like be used that well. So that can just be countered by purple. So what would happen is sort of Orochimaru's in a stalemate, in the sense that even if he uses a Universal Pull and uses a chakra to pierce him, it doesn't really work, right? So what would happen is Naruto would fold his fingers, would make the sign, and as he sort of uses his domain expansion, so like what happened is Orochimaru would use a Universal Pull. Naruto would plant his feet into the ground and kind of starts sliding. But after the time interval of it ends and the 5 seconds starts, he would use his domain expansion, and he would rip off Orochimaru's head. Now, from here, this will kill Orochimaru as he takes out the Rinnegan, and pretty much they release the domain and deal with the other Sound 4. Now from here, they would pretty much see Zetsu summon this tree. So pretty much what would happen is, with Orochimaru's help with the reanimation jutsu, they would summon Kinkaku and Kinkaku back to life, or reanimate them, take their 9 tails chakra, and then summon the 10 tails. So from here, this is when actually Kurama over time had been more or less cooperating with Naruto, because Naruto can just defeat him whenever he wants. And also, this is the 10 tails in Naruto, or at least would be told by Kurama, this is a really powerful stuff. What am I saying? It's the actual power, the most powerful tail beast. This is pretty much where all the 9 tails beasts were separated from. So you'd sort of momentarily work with Naruto, and he would be given KCM 2, and pretty much that's when they would start fighting with Zetsu. So pretty much the 10 tails would be fighting this humanoid version of the 9 tails, and Naruto would be come up with this technique that he saw from Jiraiya, and he would make the Rasengan for adding like wind element to it. And I'm just saying, like, Naruto, when it comes to jutsu, he gets it like this. Like, it's fast. It's like a snap of the finger, right? So he adds the wind element to it. And one thing would happen is he would add purple to it. And he would just throw it, right? And this would take like a chunk of the 10 tails, as it takes a bit for it to regenerate. So Naruto would take this time to use his domain. And it's still straining to be able to like use the domain multiple times in a day. But he uses domain and mainly targets Zetsu and tries to destroy him, because you can tell like this is Madara but like being possessed by Zetsu. So he would destroy Zetsu, and either using the purple or just like ripping his head off or something like this, or using the Rinnegan, or using like the Rinnegan to destroy him. Obviously, he didn't really. That wouldn't really make sense though. The main thing I'm thinking is purple, because that's destroys everything. Like there's nothing there. Like it just destroys it. So that's basically what I'm going for here. He'll use his purple to just destroy Zetsu from existence, and Sasuke would be quite helpful in the sense that with his Mangekyo, he can use Amaterasu and his Susanoo, and this would actually be quite helpful. So yeah, no, I'm just rambling, but with his Susanoo and Naruto's, Nine Tails figure, or this would actually be like the mounting force against the 10 Tails. So they'd manage to kill Zetsu, and Kakashi would see like this is actually like the body of Obito, pretty much, and would realize like his friend was actually alive, or not really alive, but his friend's body is actually being used by this weird substance, And from here, Zetsu would be killed, and what would happen is Naruto would give the Rinnegan, one of the Rinnegan, to Sasuke. I don't know, I feel like that's just the best way to get him like the Rinnegan, either, and then keeping the other one just for safekeeping. And with the Rinnegan, they would be able to have some power of the 10 Tails, and they would kind of, with the Rinnegan, they'd be able to split it back into its 9-tailed beasts and seal the first tail, or the 1 tails, back into Gaara, and the other tailed beasts would be returned to their individual like Jinchuriki. So yeah, I just want to mention that like over the course of this time, when Zetsu took over Obito's body, he just went and collected all the tailed beasts, and this is mainly why Naruto and Jiraiya actually worked together, because they realized that the tailed beasts Jinchuriki were being kidnapped, and it's part of some plan. So that's pretty much what would happen. And Itachi would have to kind of come back. They'd realize, or Itachi would have to tell Sasuke the truth. So unfortunately, it isn't really climactic in the fight. There isn't really like a final death fight where he dies. But once he comes back, they would go after Danzo, and he'd either be killed or sent to jail forever. It's up to you. It's up to your interpretation. Killed sounds better, but it is what it is. But yeah, that's pretty much ends this. You can kind of think whatever ending you want. You can maybe think this ending was just the ending that Gojo had in mind if he were like to be in the Naruto verse or some other verse. This is probably what he imagined before he died, or maybe he just comes here after dying, or something like that. It's honestly up to you. There are some elements which I like to leave up to interpretation. But yeah, without further ado, guys, thanks for watching. Yeah, have a good day.